Right, so I'm going to be putting another bamboo down. It's a giant timber bamboo. It's up in the old chicken pen. I have two of this type of bamboo, but they're too close to each other. At the time I put them down in the chicken pen, I hadn't started really working on in this wood here. So I'm going to be moving one down here, and I'm going to be mixing some of the farmyard manure in with the soil and mulching on top. Right, so this is Phyllostaches parvifolia, and eventually they will develop into a giant timber bamboo. I have one over here. I'm going to leave that there, but I think there's just too much competition because I have the giant timber bamboo there, eucalyptus here, another bamboo here, and this sessile oak here, which I grew from an acorn many years ago. So there's a lot of competition here. I don't think they're going to reach their best. So this is going to come out. I'm going to move it down into the wood. Right, so that's gone in. I'd say in under a minute. Time is of the essence when you're transplanting. Have the hole, I've said it loads of times, have the hole ready, have your compost, water, whatever it is. Dig the hole, get it straight into the other hole as quick as possible, just to reduce any kind of shock. I'm going to get a good heavy mulch here, which will feed it and hopefully suppress the weeds as well. Big huge root ball was on it, which stayed intact, which is always a big help. Max is always giving me a hand out, aren't you, Max? Oh boy, always with me. Right, so these are all trees. They all have their own roots. I'd say there's probably about 10 different sizes. A couple of them are well over 6 feet. They were grown in this area here, sycamore I think, as far as I remember. But you can see with broadleaf trees, deciduous trees, native Irish trees, if you plant them, the sunlight can get through and the fertility of the soil increases, because you can see the top layer here. Okay, and all the invertebrates and the bugs and everything can get down under there, and it feeds itself, unlike the Irish Sitka spruce plantations. I think only 1% of Ireland is native Irish woodland, or 2%. It's something ridiculous anyway. It's obviously the government policies. They don't care about it. Hopefully it's going to change. But all these leaves from the winter of the broadleaf trees, there's oak, beech, and the sycamores, that can all break down here on this. This is the parvifolia, but I've thinned it out, so there's less competition for the nutrients for this gunnii eucalyptus and this bamboo. Okay, so what will be moved out in another couple of weeks, I'm going to be moving the tetrapanax, this one here and this one here, and I have 3, another one up at the seat at the path on the way over to the tunnel, and I have 3 small ones, and the idea will be to put them on the pathway going around the top part of the field. It seems like a waste pulling all these young trees up, but for the health of the wood, you have to do it to a degree. Here's another one that's just self-seeded. I'm not planting these. Perfectly healthy. Here's another one here. Okay, and in the wood there's oak, ash, lots of different seedlings are starting to come up. They just self-seed themselves now after a certain amount of time. Right, so that's the heavy mulch down on the Stachys parvifolia. Something that I did notice in the first season when it went down was the culms, or the canes, get really tall on the plants that I have. Not many of them, I think it was only 1 or 2 were coming out at a time. But this is already over, probably close to 12 feet. But this one here, when they come up, when they start growing, they get very, very tall quickly, but they're actually quite soft. And I think I just barely knocked off this one, and it just snapped right in at one of these sections in here. So what I did was, with the 2 of them, I've never had to do it before, I've had to do it with the Huang Wengzhu as well. They get so tall and they get so lanky, they're not that strong, and they fall over flat on the ground. And I've lost one of the big canes. This one snapped. So if you do get it, you might want to stake it until it finds its feet after a couple of seasons, because they probably get very top heavy. I suppose not unlike the eucalyptus trees, the gunnii, they can get really tall very quick and get top heavy, and they can snap because they don't actually have the strength to support. There's the dogs eating the dogs picking at the farming muirs. Right, so that's the so the biggest casualty of last season, this is the Scheffler Taiwaniana, and you can see this is perfectly healthy. And in the first season, or the first time I got these, I got 2 of them, and I put one over here, and it's doing really well. You can actually see how thick that's actually getting now. They're only small plants, and I'd say they're just under 5 feet. They'll probably hit 6 feet this season, but it's doing really well. But I had one over here on the path, and it was roughly the same size, doing really well. And when I was doing all the spraying down in the woods, and I sprayed around here, just getting rid of nettles, and I didn't realise it, but I sprayed one here, or it must have picked up the mist on the from the spray, and at the end of the season I could actually see that it was going backwards. It wasn't doing well at all, and it's just died over the winter. Now it's created a space, and what I'm going to put in there is a Trachycarpus fortunei nanus. So another plant that I'm starting to divide is this wild carex that has come in. Kind of looks like a needle pan. Really dense, gets lovely foliage, but it throws off these pups or offsets, and I've started to divide them up. Max is sitting on one of them, and I'm just going to be placing small plants dotted around the wood. So it's a wild carex, and I think it just works perfect as a for underplanting for, you know, when the palms get tall, or bamboos, the eucalyptus. It's going to look really good.